viewers, welcome to the series of lectures on tourist attractions and popular tourist circuits in Australia. In this part 2, we are discussing about the 5 subtopics as follows: tourist attractions in South Australia, tourist attractions in Tasmania, tourist attractions in Australian Capital Territory, tourist attractions in Western Australia, and the emerging trends in Australia's tourism. Now, firstly coming to the tourist attractions in South Australia. South Australia is a state in the southern central part of Australia with enormous wilderness in it. South Australia is the 4th largest state and covers most of arid area in the country. South Australia shares its border with all the other mainland states and Northern Territory. It is bordered to the south by Southern Ocean, lined by the sheer cliffs of the Great Australian Bight, to the west by Western Australia, to the north by Northern Territory, to northeast by Queensland, to the east by New South Wales, and to the southeast by Victoria State. Adelaide is the capital city of South Australia, and the major population of the state resides in the capital city. River Murray is the lifeline of the state, forming most fertile land in the region. South Australia has good connectivity through all modes of transportation, such as interstate railway networks with neighbouring state capitals Perth, Darwin and Melbourne, good network of roads and an international airport at Adelaide. The sprawling wilderness, stunning coastline and beauty of red-hot desert, South Australia looks like imagination of artists and adventurers. The most popular tourist circuit is discussed here. Adelaide. Adelaide, the capital city of South Australia, has best combination of historical buildings to modern architecture. Popular tourist attractions include North Terrace, the cultural precinct with its museum, galleries and carefully preserved gems. Adelaide Central Market, a shopping centre, and the Adelaide Festival Centre. Other popular attractions in Adelaide include Adelaide Botanical Garden, Adelaide Zoo and the Migration Museum. Coming to Mount Lofty. Mount Lofty is the highest peak point in the Mount Lofty Ranges, located to the east of Adelaide in South Australia. Mount Lofty Peak is just 15 km east of city Adelaide, which has unique natural attractions. When Adelaide city reaches maximum temperature, lofty mountains will be comparatively cooler and attract lot of adventure enthusiasts. Mount Lofty can be reached by road as well as by trekking. Kangaroo Island. Kangaroo Island is 112 km southwest of Adelaide, Australia's 3rd largest island, after Tasmania and Melville Island. Kangaroo Island, now island's economy, has been principally dependent on agricultural, fishery and with tourism growing in importance. The largest town and the administrative centre is Kingscote. Lake Eyre. Lake Eyre, also known as Kati Thanda, Lake Eyre is the largest saltwater lake in Australia, located northern part of South Australia. Lake Eyre is the lowest point in Australia, which is 15 meters below the sea level. Lake Eyre Basin covers the border of 2 other states, those are Northern Territory and Queensland. Lake Eyre fills in rare conditions when the amount of rainfall is high in these regions. It will be wonderful scene to watch when lake will be coloured in pink because of algae. Fleurieh Peninsula. Fleurieh, pronounced as Fleurieh, is the land projecting southwest from the Mount Lofty Ranges, popularly known for McLaren vineyards in south of Adelaide city. The picturesque Fleurieh Peninsula plotted with beautiful vineyards, scenery, wildlife reserves and superb beaches. The peninsula is a playground for many activities such as fishing, boating, bushwalking, whale watching, surfing and swimming and many more. Victor Harbour is one of the most popular beach resorts on the peninsula. Granite Island is a haven for kangaroos and penguins. Tourists can take ferry service to sail into Kangaroo Island from Cape Jervis of Fleurieh Peninsula. Tourist attractions in Tasmania. Tasmania is an island state of the Commonwealth Australia, located 240 km south of mainland Australia, separated by Bass Strait. The island state encompasses the main island Tasmania and 334 small islands surrounding it. Hobart is the capital and largest city of the island state Tasmania. Tasmania is known for its natural tourism attractions, along with few popular historical monuments. Nearly 45% of its land is covered by reserves, national parks and UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The island state is a perfect destination for nature and wildlife lovers. Hobart. Hobart is the capital and largest city of island state Tasmania, located on the bank of Derwent River. Hobart, founded in 1803 as a penal colony to keep convicts and one of the oldest capital cities in Australia, Hobart has second deepest natural post in the world. Hobart is the most beautiful city in the foot of Mount Wellington and on estuary of River Derwent, makes most scenic backdrop for the city. Hobart City has plenty of day trips to offer, in which the following popular attractions can be included: Salamanca Place and Salamanca Market. Salamanca Place is a heritage sandstone building built between 1835 and 1860. Once the commercial hub of Hobart town, now the popular gathering place for tourists with best cafes, restaurants, art and craft shop, etc. Salamanca Market, the Saturday market, with more than 300 dealers coming to the venue to sell their antiques, art and crafts, is the prime attraction in the Salamanca Place. Royal Tasmanian Botanical Gardens. Royal Botanical Gardens, originally opened in 1818, the gem of Hobart City. Royal Botanical Gardens change colours with the seasons, especially in fall season. Rich plant species in the botanical garden invites tourists throughout the year. Tasman Bridge. One of the most distinctive landmarks of Hobart City. Tasman Bridge, constructed on Derwent River in 1964. One of the piers collapsed by cargo vessel in 1975 and reconstructed in 1977. Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery. State's oldest public building with great collection of artifacts. Freycinet National Park. Freycinet National Park is one of the best preserved and rich biodiversity area located in the east coast of Tasmania, Australia, 125 kilometers northeast of Hobart. It occupies a large part of the Freycinet Peninsula, named after French navigator Louis de Freycinet, who invented this land in 1916. It is Tasmania's oldest park, along with Mount Field National Park. Port Arthur. Port Arthur is a small town, former convict state and Tasmania's top tourist attraction. It is located approximately 60 kilometers southeast of the state capital, Hobart. Port Arthur is one of Australia's most significant heritage areas and an open-air museum. The site is one among the 11 convict sites in Australia listed under a World Heritage Property of remnant penal sites originally built within the British Empire during the 18th and 19th centuries on fertile Australian coastal strips. Port Arthur day tours and ghost tours in Latin Light are so popular tours in Tasmania state. As Tasmania is an island state with rich flora and fauna and pristine water bodies, there is lot more things to offer for tourists. Some of the popular wilderness areas are Douglas-Apsley National Park, Franklin Gordon Wild River National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, South Bruny National Park, Mole Creek Karst National Park, Tasmania Zoo. Now next, coming to the tourist attractions in Australian Capital Territory. The Australian Capital Territory, abbreviated as ACT, formerly known as the Federal Capital Territory, is a territory in the southeast of Australia. Australian Capital Territory, comprising mainly Canberra, the national capital, is enclaved within state New South Wales. Apart from the city of Canberra, the Australian Capital Territory also contains agricultural land and a large area of Namadgi National Park, much of it mountainous and forested. Small townships and communities located within the Australian Capital Territory include Williamsdale, Naas, Uriara, Tharwa and Hall. Australian Capital Territory enjoys the salubrious weather due to its elevation of 650 meters above sea level and distance from the coast. Australian Capital Territory experiences 4 distinct seasons, unlike many other Australian cities whose climates are moderated by the sea. Canberra is noted for its warm to hot dry summers and cold winters with occasional fog and frequent frost. Many of the higher mountains in the territory's southwest are snow covered for at least part of the winter. Thunderstorms can occur between October and March, and annual rainfall is 623 millimeters or 24.5 inches, with rainfall highest in spring and summer and lowest in winter. Temperature would be moderate throughout the year except harsh summer months. The maximum temperature recorded in the Australian Capital Territory was 42.8 degrees centigrade at Acton on 11 January 1939. The lowest minimum temperature was minus 14.6 degrees centigrade at Goodgenby on 11th July 1971. Tourist interest spots in Canberra includes Australian War Memorial. Australian War Memorial is Australia's national memorial located in country's capital city Canberra. The War Memorial, dedicated to organizations died or participated in wars on behalf of Commonwealth of Australia. The Australian War Memorial was opened in the year 1941. The Australian War Memorial includes an extensive national military museum and is widely regarded as one of the most significant memorials of its type in the world. War Memorial consists of 4 main elements: the Anzac Parade, a commemorative area, a sculpture garden and the distinctive memorial building. Parliament House, Canberra. Parliament House is the meeting place of the Parliament of Australia, located in Canberra, the capital of Australia. Construction of the present permanent Parliament building began in 1981. The principal design of the structure is based on the shape of 2 boomerangs and is topped by a 266 feet flagpole. The building was designed by Michel or Giorgola and Thorpe Architects and opened on 9th May 1988 by Queen Elizabeth II of Australia. Parliament House contains 4,700 rooms and many areas are open to the public. Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve. Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve is a protected area on the fringe of Namadgi National Park, situated at a short drive from the city of Canberra in the Australian Capital Territory. The reserve covers an area of 54.5 square kilometres, rich with flora and fauna and great history of Aboriginal people. Some of the other prime tourist attractions in the Australian Capital Territory are National Zoo and Aquarium, Mount Ainslie, Black Mountain, National Gallery of Australia, National Museum of Australia, National Portrait Gallery, National Dinosaur Museum, Australian National Botanical Gardens, National Library of Australia and Canberra Railway Museum. Tourist attractions in Western Australia. Western Australia is the largest state in Australia, occupying the 1/3 of country's total area. Perth is the most populous and capital city of the state. It is bounded by the Indian Ocean to the north and west, the Great Australian Bight and Southern Ocean to the south, the Northern Territory to the northeast and South Australia to the southeast. Western Australia is Australia's largest state with a total land area of 25,29,875 square kilometres. However, the major population can be seen in southwestern part of the state and a significant part of the state is sparsely populated. The state has about 2.6 million inhabitants, around 11% of the national total. 92% of the population lives in the southwest corner of the state around capital city Perth. The state experiences the different type of climatic conditions due to its different landforms. Some places receives abundant rainfall ranging from 300 to 1400 millimeters annually, whereas some places, especially central arid region, receives very less rainfall, less than 300 millimeters annually. The first European to land in Western Australia was the Dutch explorer Dirk Hartog, who visited the Western Australian coast in 1616. The first European settlement of Western Australia was established by the British Major Edmund Lockyer on 25th December 1826 on an expedition on behalf of the New South Wales colonial government. He established a convict-supported military garrison at King George III Sound at present-day Albany, and on 21st January 1827 formally took possession of the western third of the continent for the British Crown. With its vast size, mere population and Perth known as the world's most isolated capital city, Western Australia could be considered Australia's final frontier and best holiday spot for unexplored treasures. Western Australia is home to rich species of flora and fauna, in which 1,000 species of plants, birds and animals are endemic to the region. Tourism forms the major part of Western Australia's economy and major source of revenue and employment generation, with contribution of $9.3 billion to the Western Australian economy and supports 94,000 jobs within the state. Western Australia is taking significant portion in overall international arrivals to Australia, that is 12.8% of tourists visited Western Australia out of total international tourists to the country visited in the year 2015. Tourism Western Australia is the official government agency responsible for promoting Western Australia as a holiday destination. Popular tourist attractions in Western Australia includes Perth, the vibrant capital of Western Australia, having distinction of the most isolated capital in the world. Mining being the major source of revenue, mining money makes Perth world's most livable city. Beautiful city in the southwestern corner of the country, located on the bank of Swan River, has wonderful attractions like pearly beaches, gardens, towers, swimming and surfing beaches, etc. Some of the popular attractions in Perth include Kings Park and Botanical Gardens. Boasting beautiful views of the Swan River and Darling Range, Kings Park and Botanic Garden is an oasis of peace near the heart of the city. Almost two-thirds of this sprawling 1,000-acre park is natural bush which harbours a diversity of native plants and birds. Dedicated to conservation, the Botanic Garden spotlights plants from Western Australia and other Mediterranean climates such as South Africa and California. Highlights includes Mount Eliza, a viewpoint for stunning view of the city, Kings Park War Memorial, dedicated to servicemen of Western Australia, ponds, walking trails, play areas and viewpoints. Swan River. Local Aboriginals believe that Winding River Swan has been created by the rainbow serpent Woggle. River Swan is the perfect setting for outdoor fun for both visitors and locals of Perth. Visitors can do many recreation activities in the river, such as picnic on the parks or garden on the riverbank, sail, swim and kayak in the river, hop aboard a relaxing river cruise between Perth and the historic port of Fremantle. Another popular day trip is a cruise upriver to the fertile shores of the Swan Valley, Western Australia's oldest grape-growing region. Most ferries and river cruises depart from Barrack Square Jetty. Beaches. Perth has some beautiful beaches for sun and sand lovers. Recreational activity in these golden sand beaches is a popular tourist activity in the city. Within the short distance drive from the city, tourists can reach to most beautiful beaches in the region. Pine-fringed Cottesloe is one of the Perth's most popular strands with its clear waters and thriving cafe culture, and Port Beach, City Beach, Peppermint Grove, Rockingham Beach and Hillary's Port Harbour are few other popular beaches to name. Perth Mint. Perth Mint, where coins are struck and gold bars cast, welcomes visitors. In the melting house, visitors can watch pure gold being poured to form a solid bar. The original vault from 1899 houses the world's largest collection of gold bars and natural nuggets. Some other popular attractions of the city includes Perth Zoo, St. Mary's Cathedral, Aviation Heritage Museum, Margaret River. Margaret River is a much loved holiday resort and a hotspot for surfers. This pretty town lies about a 3.5-hour drive south of Perth, making it a popular weekend escape from the city. The area also has beautiful scenery, vineyards, sparkling white sand beaches and impressive limestone caves. Kimberley and Broome. Kimberley is popular for gold mining and beautiful beaches. Broome, which is just south of Kimberley, is a famous tourist town with most beautiful beaches and holiday resorts in the town. Purnululu National Park. One of the planet's best kept secrets for many years, the remote and spectacular rock formations of Purnululu National Park, called as Bungle Bungle in local language in the Kimberley, lay hidden from the outside world until 1983. Today, the park graces both the National and UNESCO World Heritage List. Despite its relatively recent discovery, the Bungle Bungle Hills and surrounding area were home to Aboriginal tribes for thousands of years and hold remains of their culture, ceremonial sites, rock paintings and a burial ground which are strictly protected. Visitors can explore the main sites on walking trails of varying difficulty. Cathedral Gorge, Picanini Gorge and Echidna Chasm are some of the most popular sites. Sightseeing through flights or small aircraft is a great way to appreciate the massive scope of these magnificent structures. Ningaloo Reef Marine Park. Ningaloo Reef is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the world's largest fringing reef. Ningaloo Reef is one of the few places in the world where visitors can swim with whale sharks. Easily accessible from shore, the marine park shelters an incredible diversity of marine creatures including manta rays, dugongs, whale sharks, humpback whales, turtles and more than 500 species of fish and 300 species of coral. Now lastly, coming to the emerging trends in Australia's tourism. Australia's tourism industry is experiencing consistent growth from past few decades and making total tourism market $117.2 billion industry in 2014-15 and expected to reach $140 billion by 2020. This has been supported by the current annual growth of 1.9% and National Strategy Tourism 2020, an integrated development model for tourism industry. The changing interest of international tourists and ample diversified tourism resources in Australia resulted in the origin of some new trends in Australian tourism. Wine tourism in the world's best vineyards is the outback of Australian states. Culture tourism to visit and know more about Aboriginal art and culture. Wildlife tourism in the rich reserves, national park and marine parks of Australia. Beach tourism, as Australia is surrounded by stunning water bodies in its all sites and continent has some of the world's best islands, coral reefs offering wide opportunities for beach and underwater recreation activities. Ghost tourism in number of convict sites built by British which have stories of massive deaths of people are the best venues for conducting this new trend in tourism.